Minister of Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development, Thoko Didiza, is hosting the 13th BRICS Ministers of Agriculture in Mookgophong. The BRICS meeting seeks to pursue issues of common interest pertaining to food security, climate change, rural development, economic challenges, poverty, and, of course, population growth as well. BRICS is, of course, the grouping of the world's leading emerging market economies, namely Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Our reporter Mahlatse Phaladi is on the story. Let's cross now to him. Mahlatse, a good morning to you. Thank you so much for giving us some of your time. I mean, key discussions that are really leading the agenda as these ministers meet.
Yes, good morning, Naledi, and perhaps happy Women's Day to you and to our viewers as well. Naledi, yes, we are here in Mudimule, whereby the 13th summit for the agricultural BRICS countries is supposed to take place here. And at this particular moment, there's just build up as some of the dignitaries from these various countries are expected to converge at this lodge so that they can discuss some of the key issues. And we do know, Naledi, that, you know, among some of the key issues that are expected to at least be a point of discussion here includes the issues of the discussion and also the strengthening of trade relations between these BRICS nations. Perhaps, Naledi, to expand more on this, I am joined by the Director General of the Department of Agriculture, who will at least, you know, take us through some of the key issues that they will expect here today. Thank you very much for joining us on SABC. Today we are here. We see that you're gonna converge with a summit here, the agricultural summit. Perhaps take us through some of the dignitaries that are expected to be part of this summit today.
Thank you very much, and happy Women's Day to all the women of South Africa and for their bravery that they have exhibited over the years. Today we are meeting here in Mookgophong on the margins of the 13th meeting of Ministers of Agriculture of BRICS, and today we are having a few dignitaries with us. We have got MECs, MEC Super Zuma from KZN is here, MEC Mookgophong from Free State is here, and MEC Shiba from Mpumalanga is also here. We also have got the portfolio chair on agriculture, land reform and rural development, Nkosi Mandela is also here. We also blessed to have from the FAO the Assistant Director General who's representing the DG of the FAO, Dr. Abebe, who's here also to grace out this occasion.
Perhaps take us through some of the key issues that, you know, will be point of discussion throughout this 4-day summit.
No, thank you very much. Today we are discussing climate resilient agriculture, which is a topic that is been allocated to South Africa, because between the BRICS countries, amongst the BRICS countries, each and every of the BRICS member states has got a topic that they have got to focus on, and ours is around climate change. That is why you see us today dealing with issues around climate resilient agriculture. Once we are done with this, which is part and parcel of what we are having, experts are here in the house from different research councils. We have got economists who are going to be participating, and ultimately what we are going to have is a documentation that will go into the BRICS Action Plan 2021-2024 as part of South Africa's contribution towards the action plan. Tomorrow we will be hosting what we call the BRICS Agricultural Action Group. That group is working group is a group that is meant to ensure that when the ministers meet, there is text that is ready. We have gone through all the areas that are of importance within the action plan that we have within BRICS. So we will be discussing that. Each and every of the member states, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, will be making an input in terms of the work that we have done over the past year when South Africa is the chair of BRICS as we are. We will then move in the evening. Minister will be hosting a welcoming dinner for all those who will be attending, and on the 11th we are having an excursion for all the BRICS ministers, where they will be taken through by MEC Mookgophong from Limpopo through projects that we are going to showcase. We are showcasing projects that are to do with climate resilient agriculture in our country, and we are proud of these projects, and we hope that the world will see the work that has been done within South Africa regarding climate smart agriculture. And on Saturday we are having a longer day. That day will start off with a seminar that will be hosted by the minister, and it will deal with the rural economy and poverty eradication. All the member states will be there and making inputs. In the afternoon, we will then have an engagement around the ministers' meeting, which is the real session, which will culminate in a signing off of the declaration of the 13th meeting of ministers in agriculture. And by the way, this is the third time that South Africa is hosting this, and we are very glad that we are hosting the 13th session.
Perhaps more, let's engage on more pressing issues. We do know that, the South Africa at this particular moment is impacted by the issue of load shedding, especially on the agricultural sector. Perhaps out of this summit, is it something that it's going to be part of the discussion, and what input will you be putting forward in terms of the other trade members to ensure that this particular load shedding at least does not impact the trade that South Africa has with this rest of the members?
Energy security is one of those areas that is very important when you discuss broadly what we call localization or food systems in general. And this is one topical issue that we had when we discussed the food systems in South Africa, and it was part and parcel of our deposition when we went to the UN in 2022 to deal with the issue around food systems. And therefore, it would be a topic that we continue to discuss within South Africa broadly. And you would know that from a departmental point of view, we had made available 500 million for this cause, and the Land Bank is also contributing 2 billion to ensure that we have got what we call the Agro Energy Fund that is going to assist farmers to deal with issues around energy security, because the interface between energy and agriculture is very important, and it's a very topical issue when it comes to food security.
Perhaps, lastly, on the issue of, we know that there is an ongoing war in Russia at this particular moment, and Russia contributes a lot in terms of grain in this country. Someone from the representative from Russia will surely be here. Perhaps talks to us some of the issues that you'll be engaging in terms of that, and how has this particular war affected food production and food security in South Africa?
Look, the issue around geopolitics is a topical issue, and at this moment you would know that what is currently happening between Russia and Ukraine has affected quite a few commodities that are being used in agriculture. From a perspective of grains, you have had the issue around wheat, from the issues around your fuel, also in terms of the agricultural inputs such as fertilizers. You have got a challenge that you have got to deal with. Now, that cannot be dealt with outside the context to say, if we don't localize our food chains, we run the risk of being affected by global food chain effects that would happen similarly to the one that we are having relating to Russia at this moment. Now, the discussions that would unfold over the next few days will be left to a declaration that the minister would have to come up with, and that declaration would focus on the issue around how do we ensure that there's global food security, and that is the focus that we would have, and it will touch base in terms of how do we then deal with the issues of the conflicts that we have in geopolitical space, and also the other two C's that we sometimes forget about: climate change and the impact of COVID-19 in the food systems.
No, thank you very much. That's the Director General in the Agriculture. Of course, just mentioning a few issues, Naledi, including the issues of load shedding. We know that it had a severe impact in terms of food production in the country. And then last year, Naledi, Agri SA reporting that over 230 billion rand was actually partially lost due to this, load shedding in the agricultural sector. Also, the issue of the war that is ongoing between, Ukraine and Russia. We know that Russia contributes a lot in terms of grain in South Africa, and of course, these are some of the issues that this summit will be at least discussing and finding a way forward. Naledi, this is for the summit. It has commenced today, and it is a build-up to the general summit that will be held just in 22 August in Johannesburg. For now, Naledi, it's back to you in studio.